Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the Palm Springs Unified School District Equity Committee meeting. Today is Monday, June 5th, 2023 at 3 p.m. May I have a roll call, please?
Palm Springs Unified School District Board Member Espericueta.
Here.
Board Member Irvin.
Here.
Superintendent Dr. Sweezy.
Here.
Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Dr. Kovac.
Here.
And Coordinator of Diversity and Racial Equity, Dr. Crawford.
Here.
And item number 2, approval of agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
Move approval.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passed. Item number 3, public comments. Have we received any public comments?
We have not received any public comments today.
Thank you, Erika. And item number 4, information and discussion. Item 4A, OE 13 review. Dr. Kovac.
Hello, everyone. So this afternoon, Dr. Crawford will be presenting some information which includes all of the items that are on the agenda, as well as a review of OE 13, equity leads, and updates. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Crawford.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Would I be able to get screen sharing capabilities, please? Perfect. And can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? Beautiful. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Nicole Crawford. I'm the coordinator of diversity and racial equity here for Palm Springs Unified. And I'm super excited to meet with the subcommittee. Just to give you some updates, these updates will be inclusive of March through June of this school year. So of course, I always want to start out by acknowledging the land that we are on. I definitely want to give thanks to the Cahuilla peoples and that to acknowledge that they have been here since time immemorial. So we appreciate them allowing us to be on their land. I also want to project our equity statement. We are committed to an equitable, socially just, and anti-racist educational system. We're focusing on fairness, dignity, and democracy. We're all about fostering student success. We also commit, of course, to be an anti-racist and anti-discriminatory learning community. We always put every student first every day. And I know we reviewed the operational expectations 13 about a week ago in our study session, but I just kind of wanted to identify these are some areas that I help support in my position. But it's truly a district-wide initiative, and there's so many different departments that contribute to the success of OE 13.
And may I add something, Dr. Crawford, to that?
Of course.
May 23rd at our study session, as Dr. Crawford mentioned, we reviewed our operational expectations and all the assurances that are under that policy. So we went into great detail and felt that it was a great study session.
It truly was. Thank you, Dr. Kovac.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kovac. I'm going to jump in also, Dr. Crawford, just so that the board knows the last 2 cabinet meetings that we've had, Dr. Crawford has joined full cabinet for at least an hour or almost up to 2 hours. And that's really in large part to do what Dr. Crawford just said, to ensure that the work in the district is across all departments and that she's not in a position to be working in isolation or solely responsible for the work in the district. So she's been a great welcome addition. I think we're still working out and planning how, when, and how often we're going to do that, but having her in cabinet has really been very powerful, I think, for everybody in there. So I just wanted to share that.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sweezy. I appreciate that. So moving on, this is the agenda for review for today. I'd like to identify some equity lead updates, also go over some updates with Dr. Pompey. He's our LGBTQ Safe Schools trainer. I'd like to discuss what's gone on with our affinity groups and some feedback for that. We've also had a conscious education mandate across the district. There's some other department updates I'd like to offer, and then just review some of the upcoming events for our next school year. Is there any questions before I move on? No? Okay. So with that, this year I was super excited because I was able to have one equity lead at each of our school sites, and it has been an amazing experience. We have amazing people on this team. If you look at the left side of the screen, you see the generic description and responsibilities of this role. Since this was a foundational year, I think we've kind of got more of a footing and more of a taste of what the role truly should be with our equity leads. So if you look at the right side of the screen, it kind of goes into much more depth, I would say, for this role. So for example, I'd like to highlight some of the changes that happened from this year that will be taking place next year for our equity leads. So instead of just delivering information, we were specific about and intentional about making sure our equity leads will deliver all of our information at the school site staff meetings during their 2-1-2 time. We delve a little deeper as well into data-driven decision-making, specifically with site administrators. Having our equity leads being a part of that conversation is very important. We also added in specifics about a variety of groups of collaboration. We wanted to make sure that our parent advisory councils in particular are identified and supported. We also wanted to make sure that our equity leads are a part of conversation with our admin teams, with our parents and guardians, with our students, and with our staff. We are equipping them with tools to be prepared to be a part of these conversations as well. We will be hosting 9 meetings next year. We already have them kind of mapped out for the school year, and I want to make sure that there's accountability as well, right? So I want to make sure 8 of the 9 meetings our equity leads are attending. I'm also hoping and this is opt-in, whenever an equity lead feels like, hey, I need extra coaching on a specific topic or something that's going on with my school site, we are offering monthly coaching sessions with my team, myself, Laura, and Jarvis. It would be in Zoom or in person, whatever they would prefer, again, for extra supports. We want to continue promoting and attending practices at school sites, but also events in particular, such as our multicultural festival, our equity conference, and affinity group gatherings. We want to make sure our equity leads are equipped again with tools for conversations. So we want to make sure that they're taking conscious education 1.0 and 2.0 workshops, and that they're promoting and implementing equitable practices, specifically things such as restorative practices, and they will be trained in it this summer. Are there any questions about the expanded expectations for the role of equity leads? I see Mr. Urban.
Yeah, so quick question really fast.
Sure.
With the social equity leads, are they going to be on our campuses?
Yes, every school site has one equity lead appointed. Principals were able to select a lead because they work hand in hand a lot with their leads. We also wanted to make sure that the principal chose someone that they know would be a great fit for the position.
Okay, and then also, are they going to be attending any of our parent advisory council meetings?
Yes, if you look at bullet point number 4, that's making sure that the parent advisory councils in particular will be supported. Since we have 4 to 5 truly functioning parent advisory councils, now our focus is we're a well-oiled machine. Let's get the attendance up. Let's get these numbers up with the different parents and guardians and community members.
And one more and I'm done.
Sure, that's okay.
So, and then for the equity leads, will they have like quarterly reports or anything that they can bring here to the equity, the meeting that we're having, maybe of how things are going quarterly, just maybe a little session or a couple of minutes?
That is a great idea. I know that there are definitely some equities leads that would love to join the conversation. I think that's great feedback. That's a great idea.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you.
So Dr. Crawford and I will reflect on how to even incorporate that and take that back to cabinet for a conversation.
Yes.
Thank you, Board Member Urban.
Thank you. Mr. Espericueta, any questions?
A quick question or comment. I'm saying I like the whole point, but more about like the last one to promote culture that engage student families and staff. You know, to give more opportunities to parents. You know, from the whole group, like the English learner or any Hispanic committee, the whole. I know that is not easy to engage the busy work class families, but just to still doing the most that we can to engage more parents. For example, I was thinking one example when the school district decide to pick one state to visit probably in the future trips to get the parents' opinions too. You know, maybe we have a lot of parents that have good feedback for us to pick the probably. I don't know. It's possible maybe another country. Probably we never know. But yep, involve more parents. And I know that the African American, there's one good example. They are very active, very united, and maybe we can I look how they do that and use that model to another groups. Yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
so
and
what
I know that my respect to that as a group is they are big, a lot of participation, and maybe I know that we need to do a little bit more of Hispanic. Yeah, thank you.
So
Nice.
maybe what we can do is focus more, Dr. Crawford, on just that collaboration with the Family Engagement Center, as well as I know we have plans to try to tap into more student voice, but also more of our parents' voices as well.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I was actually going to speak to that, Dr. Kovac. So I actually have a meeting next week. No, it's okay. I have a meeting next week to meet with the family engagement staff, because I want to kind of marry our two departments. They do a lot when it comes to parent engagement and parent and guardian engagement, I should say. So the hope is that my department and their department can truly work collaboratively to get that parent voice. We are also hoping to host multiple town halls and empathy interviews specifically at our high school sites and our middle school sites to get student voice a lot more as well. So those are the two big areas of focus for my department for next year, for sure.
This is the time, Nicole or Dr. Suisi, to make a plan for the next school year, or this is the whole year? The plan is ready there, or
Great. Yeah, great question. In fact, what Dr. Crawford's going to share is the plan for next year that was discussed in cabinet. So when I mentioned that Dr. Crawford came, she made sure that her goals were aligned with the district's goals. And then she's kind of laid out a roadmap for the work next year. And you can already hear, you know, some of the things that you and Mr. Urban have already mentioned are things that you can see she already has addressed. So this first part is just how the equity leads will change. But then I know in her next few slides, she's going to be talking about the overall work that the district is going to be doing in the diversity and equity realm.
And another thing I would like to say is there any way possible we can get an email of this presentation sent to us?
Of course. Most definitely. All right, so let's move on. Thank you, everyone. So updates in regards to our LGBTQ plus safe school trainings. I'm very happy to announce that Dr. Pompey has completed 24 out of the 28 school site trainings. He also hosted 3 town halls specifically for our parents and guardians to support them. He's received phenomenal feedback overall, and his contract with us for next school year will finish up the 4 schools he wasn't able to get to this year. He will also be meeting with our counselors to train them. He will continue to host the town halls for the parents and guardians, at least 3, And this upcoming year, he'll be also offering one-on-one coaching for district employees, including administration, teachers, etc. So we're very excited about him and his trainings. So I wanted to share some data because, again, we are a data-driven school district. So these are questions that I push out in a Google form survey to all sites after they receive Dr. Pompey's training. On the upper left-hand side, it asks how satisfied our employees are overall that our district is implementing a professional development dedicated specifically to creating safe spaces for our LGBTQ students. And you can see it's overwhelmingly positive. About 80% is either very satisfied, satisfied, and neutral. So that's a great feedback for us. Then I asked specifically on the upper right-hand side, how satisfied are you with the training? Again, about 80%, 85% of our staff are also very satisfied with the training. And then the final question, the graph on the bottom middle, asks if participants learned something new and valuable. And again, overwhelmingly, about 90-something% either somewhat learned something valuable or definitely learned something valuable. So this is some great data that we are able to collect. I also left a spot open where participants can do a short response and give me any sort of feedback. And again, he has received amazing feedback. Some examples, he great energy, he has the ability to connect, he's a fantastic speaker. Someone has been in their district for 23 years and find that his PD was the most helpful. One participant thought it's a very tough subject to broach, which I agree, but they found it very rewarding. Another person honestly admits they weren't necessarily looking forward to it, but they say it was a good training and it was awesome overall. So this is some feedback that, again, I like to collect just to make sure that what we're offering is suiting the needs of our students and our staff. Any questions about Dr. Pompey before we move on? Mr. Irvin?
Wait a minute. Let's see, wait a minute.
There we are. Oh.
Yeah, so the question I have too, I've asked it a couple of times now. I would like to see Mr. Pompey. I still have not got to meet him yet.
He is phenomenal. You will really like him, Mr. Irvin. I can figure out a time I could work with him. Of course, we'll take it to cabinet to kind of discuss further about, were you interested, Mr. Irvin, in attending a training of his or just kind of more meeting him?
I just want to know, hello, an introduction.
Sure.
What he's doing for the district, what his plans are, what he's worked on, just a conversation with him, just to meet him. I just haven't seen him yet.
Definitely. He is amazing. You will really like him. I'll contact him to kind of see what our next steps can be about him meeting with the subcommittee or with the whole board. Okay, thank you. Any other questions or feedback before we move on? Okay. So affinity groups, this was a huge, I think, triumph for my department. We hosted 2 affinity groups. One was on February 21st, and it focused on 4 discussion questions. Again, the first affinity group gathering was truly about just starting conversations. The second one we just held on May 17th, and this specifically focused now on breakout sessions. We broke out into 2 main groups, our Black Indigenous People of Color group and our White Ally group, to discuss excerpts from the text, Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria? By Dr. Beverly Tatum, and it was amazing. Just such a rich dialogue and discussion. Dr. Kovatz attended. So I don't know if you want to jump in, Dr. Kovatz. I don't want to put you on the spot, but it was great.
It was great. It was inspirational, and it was so courageous for those who attended alongside me and Dr. Crawford, and I know Dr. Signore and Ms. Pitts were there as well. Just their comfort level being in a room of like-minded people and to share their experiences. And I look forward to attending all the others next year. So
thank you. And we did experience growth. The first one that took place in February, we had about 30 participants. And this last one in May, we had about 40. So the hope is that we grow Again, I wouldn't recommend getting larger than maybe 50 attendees, because, we want it intimate enough to have these sort of discussions, but large enough to where it's inclusive. So that's the hope, that we continue growing. We do have 3 affinity groups scheduled for next year. I know the board was interested as well as kind of hearing feedback from that, so that would be great. I also collected some feedback and data from the affinity groups. From the first group, because I have 2 slides in regards to that. So the first group, I ask again on the upper left-hand side, how satisfied our staff is in regards to offering a safe space for people of color, people who identify with the LGBTQ plus community, and allies. So all of them were either very satisfied or satisfied. So that's great feedback as it is. And the satisfaction with the overall meeting, again, people were either neutral, satisfied, or very satisfied. I took a lot of their, I'm sorry, Dr. Kovacs?
No, and Dr. Crawford, how many attended the first session and the second session? I know we
Again,
only had 17 responses. But
yes.
about
So
twice as many that attended it from my.
Yeah, the first session had about 30 and the second session had about 40. And again, it's opt-in. People do not have to fill out the survey if they attended. And it is anonymous. I don't collect the emails or anything, so people can speak freely. So the second affinity group received even better feedback. So again, everyone was completely satisfied. A ton of people were satisfied overall with the training and just allowing themselves to have that experience and that opportunity. So this shows me that my team and we need to continue to work together to kind of fine tune what we're doing and to ensure that everyone does feel welcome and included to join these conversations. Any questions, Dr. Sweezy?
Yes, I have one. Thank you, Dr. Crawford. I think it looks amazing, and I love to see the change and the growth from the first to the second. I know you said that you wanted to, not get too big, but what are your plans for next year? You know me, because we've had this conversation before. I'm like everything for everybody. I hate to say no. I hate to turn people away.
Definitely.
And so just kind of wondering if you'd thought through like how you might. And similar question, what was the carryover from meeting 1 to meeting 2? So was it 80% of people who came to the first meeting came to the second meeting, or was it kind of a whole new mix?
So answering your second question, I would say about 80 to 85% of participants were from the first session who joined in the second one, and they were so happy with the experience that they brought a friend.
That's awesome.
So that's more feedback that I've also received. Like, I'm going to bring another friend to join, so we grow even larger. So that is in the works. So my vision for next year is definitely offering a few district-wide meetings of affinity groups. But I would also like to kind of cluster in different sections, because again, we don't want it too large and too broad to where, there's multiple people talking over each other. It's kind of hard to manage. So I think clustering, like we can have a cluster of affinity group for our DHS community. We can have a cluster for downtown Palm Springs area. Then we could have another cluster for our Cat City, Rancho Mirage area. So that's the hope.
Great strategy.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, it's just as we continue to gather the feedback, that's where we will make our little pivots and edits to make sure that, again, all of our staff is really, truly feeling heard and supported.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course. I also collected some statements from participants. Again, they're always so nice. A lot of people thanked us for being brave enough to hold a open space and forum such as that. A lot of people also were very pleased that there was such a mix of everyone being there from just different types of different classifications of jobs. And it was nice to kind of talk about the shared struggles of people. So I think really building that community was important for people to experience. Okay. Any questions before I move on? Nope. Okay. So conscious education, we're really excited. Dr. Sweezy did announce on May 22nd that all who are a part of Palm Springs Unified are expected to join our conscious education training. We have 12 training sessions available in June and in July. And we will continue offering other trainings toward the end of the school year as well. Any questions or concerns about Conscious Ed? And we have 1.0 and 2.0 now up and running. So we're super proud of that.
And I know, Dr. Crawford, just to share with the board, I know Dr. Crawford and the team was working on a version of the training for the board. So I
Yes.
know that there was an interest expressed by the board. And so she and her team are working on the best time to deliver that to you and the best, the best format to get that done. So please know that a training will be coming, a
Yes.
conscious education training will be coming for the board.
Yes, most definitely. We want to include the board as much as we can with everything that we do.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna ask you.
Sorry, we beat you to it, Mr. Irvin.
I knew it.
All right, so other updates, just a couple of other things that has happened.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean
yes,
to interrupt, but I
it's
just
okay.
wanted to go back and share with the
Sure.
board. And I don't know if Dr. Kovac shared this when I had to be out last meeting, but in sending, whenever you hit send on an email to 3,000 people, which is what we did around conscious education, there are always responses. And so I just wanted to let the board know, I was very pleased. There were no critical responses from any employee in the district. There were some questions about clarification, about when are the trainings and where are the trainings. There was one question that I thought was an excellent one from a teacher at Raymond Cree that talked about something comparable for students. Like, this is awesome that the staff is going to get it. How can we get this information to our students? But I just wanted to share, normally when it's the end of the year and the superintendent says you're all now required to do something, and it's going to take a couple days of your time to do it, there's some people that would complain. There were no complaints and no negative responses received. So I really just wanted to share that.
Honestly, I've received nothing but positive feedback. People are very impressed that we're such a forefront and we're kind of setting the stage for other districts to follow in our steps. So we're very, very proud of ourselves in this aspect. All right. So other updates from March to June, we had very successful HBCU and HSI tours. I know we presented at the board, but I just wanted to highlight it again because it was such a fabulous experience for the kids. And I'll go over some data also that we've collected from the tours. We did expand our Conscious Ed team. We are aware now that it is an expectation for all employees to attend Conscious Education. We expanded the team from about 15 people to 24 facilitators now. So we are up and training them through the summer. So they're ready to hit the ground running this fall. We also helped support the mental health fair that took place in May. And we finalized all of our parent advisory council meetings. Our APAC, NAPAC, and LPAC are successfully done for the year. We've had some amazing presenters. I thank the board for you coming. I know you always attend and support, so I appreciate you all for that. And all of the parent advisory councils were also notified that they will be actually shifting back to the Family Engagement Center. My team will be there as well to still support our parent advisory councils, but the Family Engagement Center will be overseeing them from here on out. Any questions, concerns before we move on? No? Okay. So some feedback. I have a slide for our HBCU participants and we have one for our HSI. We're still in the works of collecting the data. The upper left-hand side asks our kids, how satisfied were they with the tour? All of them very satisfied or satisfied. On the upper right-hand side, after attending the HSI tour and the student meetings, if they have a better understanding of A through G graduation requirements. Again, kids were either neutral, agreed, or strongly agreed with their understanding of A through G now. On the bottom left, 100% of our kids who participated in the responses were missing 9, but 15 of our kids said, yes, they're most definitely going to attend college now because of this tour, because some of them were kind of on the fence. And that's why tours like this are important, because it really pulls our kids to say, you know what, this is for me, the college experience. And on the bottom right, we ask, would you recommend this tour to other PSUSD kids? 100% of them again, most definitely. Very similar data from our HSI. All of them are satisfied. All of them are expecting to attend college now because of this tour. On the upper right-hand side, all of them have a clear understanding of what A through G compliance is, and all of them would recommend the tour to another student in our district. So we're very, very pleased with the feedback. We asked our kids be as brutally honest as possible because that's helped shape the programs. And they were very pleased. A lot of them, it was their first time leaving their family behind for a week, first time being on an airplane, first time staying in a hotel, first time setting foot on a college campus. They're the first generation to even think about college. So these tours, again, I thank the board because I know you truly support these tours, and you can see through the data that it makes a significant impact on our kids. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Dr. Crawford, can you just share very briefly about what occurred last week when you brought the students back together?
Oh my gosh. So we wanted to do one final meeting with our we always say our babies, with the students. And they actually requested it, believe it or not, after we had our board meeting presentation, all the kids, when are we having our final meeting? I want one more, bonding time with my brothers and sisters. All of us have to be together. Okay, so we scheduled one more meeting with all of our kids. We were able to collect feedback and data at that time. And then they just lived their best life. They were karaoke singing, they were playing board games. They were just having deep conversations with each other, talking about college, where are they going to apply, why this one, why that one, let's go here together. So it was just such a beautiful moment. I was going to plug in a video of their voices singing karaoke, but they're a little off tune a little bit, our sweet children. So I was like, maybe not. I don't want to embarrass anyone. But they're so cute. And it was just such a great experience for our kids to be back together one more time. And they already have their text threads about what they're going to do in the summer and hang out with each other throughout the summer and support each other through college application time. And they know we're there as well to support them. So it was a really good time.
Thank you.
Of course. Some feedback that we collected from our kids. I mixed our HBCU and HSI feedback, but overwhelmingly you can see that our kids appreciate the fact that they were able to walk onto campuses where the student population looked like them, were from the same cultures as them, where they can grow as an individual, human being. And they're really excited about trying to apply to these colleges, either in Austin, Texas, or in the greater DC area. So really, really excited, great feedback. So mark your calendars, please. These are some upcoming events for next school year. We have our equity conference taking place September 30th of 2023. It's going to focus on racial healing and resilience. We are also implementing for our first year district-wide our Latino College Expo, which takes place in September. We're also working with our EL coordinator, Robin Hinchliff, to have another successful family literacy event in September. We're hosting our first affinity group starting in October, and that'll be multiple meetings and different clusters and such. We will also be running Taste of Soul in February, as well as our Black College Expo in February. We have our college and culture tours late March, early April, and we will have our multicultural festival this year in May of 2024. So I thank you all. If you have any questions, my email is there. I'll stop sharing now so we can see one another.
Nicole, but before you can move on to that, can you go back to the other slide that you had there?
Let me show you one more time. There we go.
One more back.
Oh, try it. Let's see. There we go.
Yeah, so what is the college and culture tour?
That's our HBCU and HSI tours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're trying to make the best experience for our kids possible. So we're toying with different ideas right now. So whether it's the HBCU College and Culture Tour or the HSI College and Culture Tour, they're all college and culture tours. So we just kind of lumped it into that title for now. Any other questions? No? Okay, I'll stop sharing again.
Thanks, Nicole, and thank you, Dr. Kovac. It's a nice recap of what's happened this year, and then I hope too you can see the plans for next year are really to just continue to deepen the work do some expanding. That's a real full calendar. So I love it. It's super ambitious. I love the conference potentially being moved back to September. If I'm remembering right, I feel like it was October this year. So maybe bumping it back.
October.
And I'm sure your plans are already underway for that conference.
Of course, you already know I'm already in the works,
You're a great
planning
planner.
everything.
Yeah, a great planner. So thank you. I mean, I think I definitely speak for cabinet. We're also impressed with your work, and we want to be here to continue to support it and to make it be part of the fabric of the district. So it's not just your responsibility, but it's all of our responsibility. And I'm so proud of what's been accomplished, but I'm so excited to see what's still yet to come. So I appreciate you giving the board such a nice kind of look back and look forward at the same time.
Thank you.
Quick question before you guys end it. What is the status of ARC? I haven't heard anything about the ARC subcommittee. I don't know if something that falls under that kind of has to deal with diversity. Is it something that's different? What's the status of ARC?
Great question, Charlie, and I certainly can answer that one. So when we came back and started contracting with Dr. Nicole Anderson, I always have to get my Nicole's right, but not Dr. Nicole Anderson Consulting, she really was looking to be in a position to kind of take ARC over with our help, of course, and change it and move it forward. That didn't exactly match where we'd been. So the biggest thing that really was our effort this year was to take some of the responsibilities from the ARC subcommittees and make sure that those were central office district administrator responsibilities. So instead of asking a school site teacher to be responsible for a district-wide program or a dean or something, we wanted to make that be district responsibility. There's still definitely a role for kind of a come one, come all large public meeting. And so we're in discussions with Nicole Anderson right now about what that might look like moving forward. But really the transition from ARC really is that super innovative, very passionate group that launched this work. My focus was really to get that work then embedded across the district. And so I do know some people have wondered where ARC was, and I'll be honest, I take responsibility for that. ARC wasn't going to be the same as it was, but to be honest with you, didn't quite have a grasp of what it needed to look like moving forward. But I assure you, in our plan, there is time and space for that public and community to come together and to be engaged. And so that's even when I started calling it ARC 2.0, but we had the name ARC 2.0 before we truly had the vision for how it was going to work. But that's something I think you can look forward to next year.
Yeah, I just really hope it comes back. That was something that was doing a lot of great work, and people worked very hard to get that to a point to where it was, and just kind of, to disappear. I think that's something that we should put back on our agendas for something that we need to look forward to next year, because it kind of slipped a little bit this year to me.
Yep. Nope, totally understand. And again, my focus was getting that work to be embedded across the district, but I don't want to do that in a way that's not respectful to all the people who are so deeply engaged in ARC. So I definitely hear you, and we do have plans to have what the next step looks like for next year.
Yeah, I want to make the short comment. I think we are in the item number 5, members' comments. Probably. Yeah. I see a lot of improvement in it. I want to talk a little bit about the committee, because when we formed the committee, we don't have one more formal meetings. Now we are doing that more in formal way, setting the next meeting, the agenda. I think we are improving. Probably we need to members to receive a little bit more information before the meeting, like the Charlie request, to be more familiar with the agenda. But yeah, we are doing good. I don't know, is we had to report anything to the entire board?
Well, you know, a great question, and thank you for the comment, Sergio. You could see when we originally were thinking about the committee, you'll see that the number one discussion topic was OE 13. But I didn't expect OE 13 to go to the board just a week or two before the subcommittee. So there's no need for us to do it twice. But the idea of the subcommittee is that we would be discussing that OE 13 before it goes to the board, but just using it as a checkpoint, and because that's really your board policy. So the things that you as board members want to have happen need to be tied to the things in OE 13, because that's kind of should be guiding our discussions. But I definitely understand Charlie's request and your request information that we can definitely, like you said, we're getting better and better. But we can get that information out to you ahead of time so that you can have some questions prepared. If we hadn't just done, or Dr. Kovac and her team hadn't just done OE 13 and you had such a big discussion, then I would say you would report back to the whole board. I think in your board member comments at the regular board meeting, that would be a place that you'd be reporting out to the rest of the board that we met in subcommittee and Dr. Crawford shared, the plans, and then you'll have a copy. We'll send out a copy of that PowerPoint right when this meeting's over.
Okay.
I just want to say great job. Once again, thank you guys for your time, and everybody puts in effort, and our district is going in a direction it needs to go into, and the work is being put in to make our district continue to go in that direction. However, like what Sergio said, just a couple of things that can help out to make it a little bit more smooth of a transition. But overall, it's fine. I appreciate everything that you guys are doing, and continue to keep up the good work.
Thanks. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think we're at the approval of minutes.
Yeah, I want to, item 6, approve the meeting minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes for March 20, 2023?
Move.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
The motion passed. At item number 7, setting the next meeting. Our next equity committee meeting will be held in September 18, 2023 at 3 p.m. via live stream. That is okay, that day and time?
Yep.
And item A, adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned.